Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is Jules. This is for people who are new here. My name is Jules. My pronouns are he, him. I'm a commercial food photographer and stylist, and soon to be published cookbook author. Hold on a second. Well, that's not going to work there. Um, what do we do here? Let me let you know what we're doing for the next hour and a half. We will sit and either plan our upcoming weeks. Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm planning my upcoming week. But you may be journaling or doing some art or doing some housework or something with me playing in the background. If you are sitting at your computer and are lurking, why don't you come say hi in chat and participate in the conversation? Um, yeah, so let's recap my last week. This past week was my last week of, hello, Anamik, I'm waving at my computer. Hello. Um, so I'm glad you're here and not missing this recap of my last week. Um, it was an interesting week. So I will let you know about this meeting in a minute. But unfortunately, my it's okay though. My coordinating editor, had to interrupt my staycation on Wednesday and Thursday for some like extra unforeseen things, emergency type things to be able to get everything back to me for the 20th to keep like on schedule. So that's fine. But the real humdinger of this is, so as you know, I purchased a Vitruvian trainer for exercise purposes and physio and whatever. And UPS delivered it to the wrong house. UPS has a really bad habit of delivering my expensive packages. They always deliver my cheap packages correctly, but my expensive packages, they always deliver to the wrong house. And it's not even on my street. It's like 3 streets over. And it's always the same house that they misdeliver my packages to. At least we've now realized it's always the same house after it happening so many times. And so I put in a ticket on Thursday to be like, yo, you're saying this is delivered and it's not anywhere. And I'm pretty sure I would notice like 150 pounds. Like one package is 100 pounds and another package was like 50 pounds. They're big boxes, and I would have noticed them around my house. Um, and I'm freaking out because either I'm hoping either someone's going to be a very nice Canadian and put it in their vehicle, 150 pounds, like the size, the weight of like a full grown human person, um, stick it in their car and drive it over to my house, or they've just gotten a really nice, ex expensive piece of exercise equipment, physio equipment. But I put in the ticket, but very thankfully, late Thursday night, Canadians who are nice, nice Canadians who are nice, somehow, and this woman, she was like tiny, probably maybe 4'11". Somehow, she put it into her car, and she was like unloading it all by herself in my driveway, and just like wasn't gonna knock on the door or anything because she didn't want to disturb us. I mean, it's a typical Canadian story where I'm just gonna drop it off. And the packages were like one of the boxes was, and I'm laughing because it's hysterical now. I mean, one of the boxes was like pretty much as tall as she is up on its end. She wasn't gonna knock because she didn't want to disturb our evening, and she was hoping that we would be out of the house some point in the evening to see our packages in the driveway. And because you're probably really stressed that these didn't show up, but we heard them being like, we heard the vehicle in the driveway, and we heard her unloading them. And I don't know how she unloaded them without without any aid, because it took me and my partner, like the both of us, to the 100-pound package. We had to carry it together up our stairs. It's not a small. It was very sweet. Yes, very, very sweet indeed. And we're like, okay, like, and I asked her, is this your address? And I said what the address is for the other few times that, because UPS has told us, like, this is the house that it's been dropped off to. And she's like, yeah, how did you know? I'm like, because our packages have a habit of ending up at your place. Normally, UPS, like, has delivered it back to us in time. So we now know from now on, if our packages showed up as delivered and they're not delivered, we know where to check first before putting in the claim. But UPS didn't call until today to ask, like, if anybody has followed up about the claim. And it's like, really? Like, it's not some small little thing, like, we're going to take a week to get back to you about your really expensive package, thousands of dollars. Um, oh, and so I let them know. And, like, the person who called was absolutely horrified that, one, it's 2 days later and nobody has followed up either via telephone or email, and that the person who it was misdelivered to had to deliver it back to our house. And so, so that and it was a happy ending. And I'm saying she must do regular workouts. Yes, she must. Because, I mean, I could probably get it in and out of a car on my own. But if it was like delivered on her porch and she had to bring it down steps, like, I don't know if she had a partner that helped her or what. But it was like it's big and bulky and bigger than she is. And she was so nice to deliver it to her house instead of being like, score, I have this really expensive piece of workout equipment. So that happened. Oh my God. Like, like what a story. I'm freaking out. Freaking out. They need to give her some good compensation, as Anamika is saying. Yes, they do. So, and other good news, my Galaxy Watch arrived. So right now I'm wearing both my Fitbit and my Galaxy to see how they differ in like measurements, so I know how to compare them. And this one measures your SpO2 continuously instead of like the Fitbit just gives an average. And my first night of wearing it, like, I wish I had really gotten this earlier because I would have pushed to get diagnosed for sleep apnea, like, much more rigorously than I have been for the past many years because, like, my SpO2 drops below 80% multiple times during the night because of my sleep apnea. So that's not good. Like, the fact that no wonder why I have such huge cognitive um issues. That's the word I'm looking for. Like, what's just happening right now? Noun, just like noun, aphasia, and just other issues with being able to brain properly. Because my brain is being deprived of oxygen quite frequently and to great, like, not a small amount, like below 80%. Like, so yeah, there's probably, if there was to do a MRI or CAT scan, if there's not permanent brain damage because of the constant being deprivated, what's the word? Deprived of oxygen so frequently during the night, um, that would be very surprising. So so far this has been a really good win. And I saw a comparison video recently of the Galaxy Watch 5 and the new Google Watch. The new Google Watch is more expensive and does not nearly do as much as the Galaxy Watch 5, so I would recommend the Galaxy Watch. Like, if you're an Android user, especially if you're a Samsung user, get this. I mean, this is, and it like calibrates my blood pressure with my blood pressure cuff, and I just have to calibrate it once a month. And so far, it's been really accurate tracking my blood pressure. Monomic is saying this is because no one could handle a fully charged Jules. Yes, it's a conspiracy to keep me from using my abilities to overtake the world. So that is another thing that was like, cool. I mean, I get my fitted for my mask at the end of this month. So it was gonna be resolved itself soon. But when I saw my SpO2 numbers, because it like is constant measuring, I'm like, well, that's not good. And then my meeting with the food hub about the meal kit, my meal kit scheme. It's not really a scheme, but it's like, yeah, they love the idea. And so we're going to make it happen that 42 meals, or sorry, 14 meals for $42 a week, plus 200 disabled people are going to receive tools, accessibility tools for the kitchen. We're applying for a grant, and if that grant falls through, they're like, we need to make this happen. And so that was an amazing thing this past week, and I'm really glad that I took the time, um, like made time during my holidays for that meeting, because I get to do yeah, I'm gonna create a program that is going to have a substantive effect in solving food insecurity in my area, and I'm going to like figure out a way to to like create a package or a layout so that other people in other regions can duplicate how to do this, because it's a really simple thing. You just need, I mean, you need to have a partner. I wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for the food hub. And Namik is saying this is great news, or that is great news. Yes, it is. So I wouldn't be able to do it without a partner organization and without having access to the food hubs, food processing facilities, and the kitchen. Um, but so there needs to be some type of partner organization involved, but there's lots of different community kitchens that could do something like this. And also, with grant money, it's also we'll hire a few people who are on disability to also it will hire them to be able to, so their wages are like bumped by 50% without penalty. That's the word I'm looking for. So yeah, um, that was a great way to like great boost to my week, and I'm glad that happened on Wednesday because it allowed me to have some spring in my step on Thursday when my Vitruvian didn't arrive after it said it was delivered. And so I've used it, if you're curious, and so far um, I very much enjoy it, and I can't wait to like list my like free weights, and I might keep my resistance bands because those are like not a lot of space, but to be able to um, put my existing equipment on used couch in, or maybe even just give it away to somebody because it wasn't really all that expensive. And I don't know if like getting, I mean, new, it was like $150 for my free weights, and so I would sell it for $50, and I'm just like, is that even worth the the whatever the effort? Um, this week is going to be an admin week. So how is your week, Economic? Are you anything new happening? Anything exciting? Anything dramatic? I have other stuff to talk about, but let's talk about you for a minute. How's your current residence? Have you found a permanent, like, are you closer to figuring out where you're going to be moving to permanently? Oh, yes, that's right. This is just running out. Hmm. My priority this week is catch up admin. Hmm. Admin catch. No, Anomic is saying that they are doing some Preptober stuff for Nano. Oh, yes. That sounds actually like fun. I need my social media. Social media. CG020. Where are you? CG020. I still haven't decided if I'm going to be doing Nano. Like, okay, is this like dead? Are you out for like what is going on here? No, it's just showing up faded. Still haven't decided. Oh, Anomic is we are going to be heading to another house next week and still hanging around the area because of some family medical appointments. Yeah, that's how are the kids? Are they still like is it still an adventure to them? Are they are they like sometimes getting a little bit cranky because of kids can, and then Anamika is saying, still trying to decide on a scouting country for January, or yeah, on a scouting country for January. Yeah, New Year's a good place to start. That would make Christmas, though, kind of, assuming you celebrate Christmas. I don't want to make that assumption. The winter holidays. A little interesting if you're, like, not established in a house for, like, at least a week before all that craziness happens. Plan with me. I'm gonna put that in there. What are my dog food days? Let's put a D. I'm gonna be coloring. That was ridiculous. Jules, why did you do that? I'm putting this. The kiddos are still okay, but their eldest wants them to just buy a mansion. Yes. Oh my goodness, that reminds me of something. When I was youngish, I would like early um, elementary, which is grades 4 to 7. Primary is K to 3. Elementary is 4 to 7. So um, I'd say grade 4. It would have been grade 4 or 5 ish. Um, we moved to a place that had um, Toys R Us within walking distance, and my sister and I would spend a lot of time walking to Toys R Us and just daydreaming about the toys that we could never afford. And I used to dream, and same with my school, because our school was like really old, built in 1914 brick. And I used to dream that I had enough money to like buy out either the Toys R Us building or my school and turn either one of those two into a really nice house to live in. That was my dream. I mean, what kid dreams of wanting to either turn a school or like a store into housing, but it was just so big. Right? It was like I could imagine. So my bedroom would be there, and I would set up like the kitchen over there. And if I was to buy out Toys R Us, I would keep some of the toys and donate the rest to kids who couldn't afford anything. Um, that was my dreams, not a mansion. I'm gonna turn an existing building into a really cool dwelling. Mm. Oh, this is a floopy dog. Floop. And this dog wants to play. And I'm like saying it must be something about those large spaces. Yeah. Especially for us. Like, we grew up pretty poor. Like, really below the poverty line. And I always had to share a bedroom with my sister. I never had my own space. Um, except for like, and even when we had the opportunity, like one place that we lived in had a guest room. Instead of my sister and I having our own rooms, one room was taken away for a guest room. Um, oh, that's smudged already. And so it was just one of those things where I wanted, and especially like I was undiagnosed autistic at the time, and having people around me was just too much. And my dream was like living in a place big enough where, I mean, everyone can live in it, and I would never have to see them unless I wanted to. So that was part of it, was big space, not having to share space with my sister, and not having to see people unless I really wanted to. Um, okay, I got 2 meetings this week. What time is my appointment with my dermatologist on? Um, Anamika is saying if their kids share a room, they will literally be up all night talking loud and laughing. Yeah, my sister and I did not have, um, I mean, our upbringing was pretty, like we were trauma bonded. So that's not quite the, we got along because we had to get along for survival purposes. Um, and because we had shared a room all our lives, there was no, it was just like there was nothing special about it. So, okay, so my dermatologist appointment is at 4. Oh gosh, this is getting. Hmm, wait. Yes, I haven't found it yet. So I lost one of my colors, and I'm assuming it's somewhere in my couch because I have not seen my dog Edie yet, unless I put it in here. That could be a real possibility. Yes, it's in here. Oh, and I'm just asking, I was going to talk about that, so I'm glad you brought it up. So I, because it's available at like 4 different retailers currently in Canada. And it's not at the retailer that I want to buy it from, where I normally buy my planners. And like their last newsletter came out on Monday, and said like, here's what's coming up in the next week, and there was no mention of the Jibun. And every single newsletter since September, it's in the to come section. It's like coming soon. The Jibuns would be listed, and this week the Jibuns were not listed in the coming soon. So I emailed them and I asked them when are they coming, because like I need the November 1st start. It's available at other Canadian retailers, but I prefer to buy from you. Like, can you give me an update? And they did not respond to my email, which is really bizarre. So if there is no mention of the Jibun in their newsletter on Monday, then I'm going to order from one of the other Canadian retailers that has them before they're out of stock, and I'm SOL for the next year, or I have to order from like Japan or America or something and pay heavy like duties and brokerage fees. So yeah, I'm going to be ordering it this coming week. And I'm going to put that in here as well, is order um, Jibun, just so I don't forget. But that is happening this week. And it's very bizarre to me that they have not gotten back, because they're normally very good about that. And it's just weird. It's really weird. And I hate even saying out loud that my favorite like pen and journaling company, customer service has been very lacking. Um, Focus group. So I need to mark this off to here. And then I gotta put, wait, where are we? There we go. Meeting prep. I don't know why I did it like that twice. So yeah, I was able to see it and I responded to the email. So I'm wondering um, if Gmail spammed my response. So my response was, I'm going to end up buying it um, because most of the colors are above 120 in the numerical line. So most of them are not colors that I already have, which is good. And another thing that was really interesting that I was able to confirm was that those number schemes for the skin tones match the numbers that are in my set of like my big binder of pens. So I will have a couple duplicates, but not many because most of those numbers are under one, or most of them are above 120. There's only a couple that will have duplicates, and it's no big deal. And I just found it really interesting that, like, I'm wondering if these are being discontinued because these numbers don't match. Well, the other ones do match. Um, So, yeah, decompress, decompress. Um, and yeah, another thing that is somewhat interesting, maybe, is maybe I don't know, is I'm changing my workout schedule and I'm moving away from BodBot for how many weeks? Let me look here. Or Anomic is saying that's what they were wondering because it is a smaller size pen body versus the box ones being in the larger size pen body. Yeah, it's interesting. So this is 8 weeks, 40 workouts. So 2 months. 2 months. For the next 2 months, I am trying one of Vitruvian's workout um, thingies, classes, routines, programs. That's the word I'm looking for, instead of BodBot, to see what the what the difference is, and deciding if I'm going to use BodBot at the end of this 8 weeks for me to program my own custom program into Vitruvian, or if I like Vitruvian programs enough where I'm going to continue on with their programs and cancel my BodBot subscription. Um, the thing so far that I found with Vitruvian, like with BodBot, you can swap out exercises. For like if there's a body part you cannot exercise because of injury or whatever. With Vitruvian, there is no way to swap out exercises. You can like skip it, but you can't swap it out for something else that has like the same effect. So um, that might be like the thing that holds me back from doing Vitruvian's like already pre-programmed classes and programs, is the fact that I cannot swap out exercises based off of exercises that I absolutely cannot do because of my spinal cord tumor. But I did email Vitruvian about seeing if they can like incorporate a way to, because both BodBot and Vitruvian's apps have APIs, if they can work with BodBot so that their apps can talk with each other, so that like exercises that BodBot, or the exercise day that BodBot tells me to do, those exercises can automatically be fed and programmed into the Vitruvian, so I'm not having to do it manually. So we will see about that. But yeah, my exercise schedule has now changed, which may screw me up for a few weeks as I get used to the new schedule, because now it is Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and before it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So we will see. Do I normally block off 2 hours? Yes, I do. And that means I have to find smaller washi tape that doesn't block off like from 6 p.m. on. Um, so that's new. And wait. No, Jules. Come on. My brain is okay. This is where dermatology is. It's not at 6:30. It's at 4:30. So I have to cross this off. Derm. And then my day will be done. Self-care after that. Self-care. Sometimes I wish I had correction, whatever, but when I've already colored over, like in the spaces, then it doesn't really matter. So that's exercise, and this is Job. Put this in. Anomic is asking if they, I'm assuming they means Vitruvian, lets you adjust the programs. So hold on, let me put this in, and I'll show you how they kind of let you. So first of all, what I will say, no, that's not right, because I have the right in before that. Right in is writing. WG050. Here we go. So I will say, first of all, that Vitruvian has like an automatic spotter. So it adjusts the weight as you're lifting, and if it senses that you are failing, like it will automatically deload some of the weight and make something like 20 adjustments per second to make sure that you're lifting evenly and without injury. No, this is right in. Wow, Jules. Holy crap. Okay, sorry, small children. Um, so yeah, it's constantly making micro adjustments. And then as you're exercising, if you're finding it too easy and you pause at the top of the exercise, it will add 1 more kilogram of weight to it. And if you pause at the bottom of the exercise for a couple seconds, then it will remove 1 kilogram of weight. Like if you're finding it too hard and the machine isn't adjusting as you go, then you just pause either at the top or the bottom of a rep, and it will adjust the weight accordingly. And then it based what weight is going to be using at the beginning of each session. First you do a strength like assessment at the beginning, like when you first get it, and it kind of gets an overall idea of what you can currently lift, and then it bases all the programs off of that base. Oh no, that's not exercise, that's Job. I am just batting 1,000. Um, and then it increases the weight for each program for each day based off of how you performed via the last day. So it's like intelligent that way, where it keeps changing, like adjusting the weights adaptively as you get stronger. And then once a month, they recommend that you do another strength assessment in case they have missed um, any anything. And then what you can do here, this is so. Let me go into the strength and conditioning. So this is what it's going to be like. It's going to be starting me off at 6.2 kilograms on each side for bent over rows today. And then when I go into, let's see if this can focus. So if I'm tired and today I'm having a tired day, I can like put the difficulty down to easy, and they actually recommend that you do that depending on what your goals are. And so it's going to start my reps at 4.9 kilograms, and then it will adjust it depending if I'm failing or succeeding, and I can load weight during it if I'm finding it too easy. Or if you're finding the programming too easy, then you can start off with it hard, and then it will make the starting weight more difficult. And then it just keeps, and you can like, so it's granular adjustment from 80% below to 120% with like 1%. So I could like start it off at like 95% if I wanted to. But today I'm probably, because I exercised Thursday when I got the machine doing the strength assessment. I exercised regularly on Wednesday. I exercised yesterday. Today's going to be 4 days in a row just because I decided to start this program. So I'm probably going to do. And then if you wanted to, you can even adjust it even more if you think that's still not, like if it's still not light enough, then you can start it off even more. Um, But yeah, so it lets you, before you do an exercise, it lets you adjust things based off your own energy level. Where with BODBot asks you before every single exercise session how you're feeling, if you're fatigued, if you're if you're fine, or if you're great, and it will adjust your like the program based off of that assessment. Where with Vitruvian you kind of have to enter it manual, like you have to make those adjustments in a different way based off of how you're feeling. And then I'm saying, oh, okay, that is helpful as an automatic adjustment. Yeah. So you're not stuck with a weight. And if it's like, and it's really interesting because it does like your first 3 reps, it does a range of motion. So it allows, so the machine knows what your range of motion is for an exercise. So the automatic spotter knows like if you're stuck somewhere in that range of motion, you're failing, and the machine will flash red to say, oh, you're failing and I need to deload that weight so you don't get hurt. Or if you suddenly drop your weights, the machine is like, oh, I've put too much weight on. Let's restart these reps, and I'm gonna like back it off by so many. So it's smart in that way. It could be a little bit more intelligent, but those are all software things. Like the hardware is 100% there. It's just things they have to incorporate in that many users have said like it would be really cool if this was incorporated or if that was incorporated. And so far, the company loves hearing from real users, and they're working on as many of these like feedback items as they can to make it um, like good for all of its users. Do I have any deadlines this week? No. So let's put in these blocks. And I'm enjoying it so far. There's the first 3 reps where it like learns your range of motion for a specific exercise. It's not always accurate, and I have to press stop and redo it because it it sometimes counts me picking up the weights into the starting position as doing the first rep. And I'm like, no, I haven't even started the reps. I'm just trying to get in the position of the exercise to be able to do that first rep. So that's the thing that a lot of users have actually like put feedback on, that unless it's something like a, a lift, like a suitcase lift or whatever, that there's often miscounts, like when you start doing one of those first assessment lifts for range of motion. But that's also really easy to just say, no, stop, go back, and let's restart doing these reps because you're not being smart right now. And then it's very interesting to have learned recently as well that and both Tonal and Peloton have put in patents for their own type of machine that is very similar to the Vitruvian. So they say that copying is it's a serious form of flattery, but there's a different word for that. So the fact that there's other exercise companies that are like, this is amazing technology, let's do it, let's also do it, says something about Vitruvian. So my partner is not going to use it. However, for people who are watching this later, Anomic is asking if my partner is going to use it. The answer to that is no. Anomic's next question is there room for multiple users? The answer to that is yes. So you only need one membership. So you don't even need a membership, unlike Tonal or Peloton, where you actually have to have a membership. Otherwise, your machine is a brick. You do not need a membership to use the Vitruvian, the Vitruvian. There's just certain features in like anybody right now can download and install the Vitruvian app and see what you can get without a membership. You won't get access to your stats or some of the classes and some other things without a membership, but you can still program your own exercises, and there's some programs that you can use without a membership. Membership is cheap. They have like a lifetime membership for like $1,000, which is cheap. But you can also do monthly for $50, lifetime for $1,000, or 1 year, buy 1 year with the machine for like an extra couple $100. Membership is cheap, and with that one membership is attached to one machine. However, that one machine and that one membership can have unlimited user profiles, and that data, each user will have that data stored in the app. So yeah, that's another great thing about that, is you don't have to buy multiple memberships, and one machine, multiple users, which is amazing as far as I'm concerned. That's something that the other companies do not do. So yeah, and if you were to sell your Vitruvian, that membership that you bought would go to the user that you sell your Vitruvian to, because that membership is tied forever to that machine. Also, if you decide not to buy any membership whatsoever, overseas users, like in Canada, we have no choice but to buy at least 1 year membership because of the cost of shipping, and it just makes it up how much they lose on shipping. Um, I'm not sure if that's the case with the United States. It's also the case with the UK. They also have like a 1 month free membership, so you can decide if those extra bonuses are worth paying for either a 1 year or a lifetime membership. And I'm saying yes, they hate the locking in by membership only. Yeah, and that's the thing, that's like I would never buy. I would never buy a Peloton as an example, because you have to buy a membership to be able to use it. If I'm spending that many $1,000 on a piece of equipment, I mean, it better not be a brick. I better be able to use it without buying a membership, because it's a good investment, and it pays for itself over time with like gym memberships and any other equipment that you may be buying if you are serious about exercising regularly. And if you want to do it from the comfort of your own home because you don't want to go to a crowded gym for a million different reasons for why you wouldn't want to go to the gym. Um, so I've only had it for a couple days. I'm immediately happy with it. We'll see how it is as I work through this program. I've also like keeping track of physical stats like body composition. I'm not worried about my weight, but body composition because my gains have been very slow with BODBOT. And so I'm interesting to see um, what my gains are like as far as muscle composition, um, and just overall, because my spinal cord tumor has made it so I've lost almost all balance on my right leg, which is starting to get like I'm falling a lot during exercise. And that's another good thing about the Vitruvian is like there's some exercises that you do balance on your right leg. And when I try to do them, even with no weight, I fall. And the Vitruvian senses falls and it automatically deloads if you fall. That's another great thing about the Vitruvian because that doesn't happen in the gym. If you're doing free weights in the gym and you don't have a spotter, you're going to have those weights fall on you or you're going to get injured. If all of a sudden the Vitruvian senses a rapid drop or yeah, it automatically like drops all the weight so you can fall and not get hurt. So that's another great bonus to that because I've already fallen twice doing exercises that I can do just fine on my left side, but I can't do on my right side, um, which is something that I'm waiting for my neurosurgeon, a follow-up appointment with them to be like, hey, like even despite exercising, and I can show you my exercise history, um, I'm having a lot of falling. I'm losing feeling when I'm walking. You know how sometimes people will like walk behind you and put their knee in the back of your kneecap and your leg like just buckles. Sometimes my leg will just buckle, like it like that's happening, like all of it just gives out. And there's no other way I can explain this sensation other than somebody like pushing into behind my knee and, and my leg just giving out. Yeah, very, very great safety features, which I need, right? Which everyone needs, but especially somebody who has mobility issues, um, it's even um, more important that those safety features are there. And it's another thing. So if you're doing like bench presses, because you can buy like extra equipment that has like a bench press bar and a bench, and I bought all that equipment. So like if you're doing, you don't need to have a spotter if you're like one of these monster lifters who can bench press 400 the full 400 pounds. You don't need a spotter because there's a spotter built in, and it works. Like I I've already learned out of the box pretty much that it works. So I'm happy about that. Cow up delivery. And what else can I milk deadline? What else can I say about that? Mm, and then there's like little things like hold on, Petruvian. Here we go. So yeah, profiles. You can have different profiles. There's like you can be on a leaderboard if you wanted to. It lets you know like if you're over exercising one group. It's like I've been working too much on your legs, but I've only done leg day so far. Then it's like looks like you haven't been spending too much time on your back or your core. So let's give these exercises a try. So it also helps you like with that if you're new to exercising. And this is something that you need a membership for. But again, the membership's affordable. But the trainer allows you to also like there's like a light bar that flashes through rotating colors, and it lets you like set up. And that's just a little thing, right? So you can kind of, and then you can put it in stealth mode as well. And the fan's pretty quiet. The ropes, it kind of makes a little bit of noise with the cables coming out, um, and the fan to keep it cool, but it's not. It's like brown noise, so it's like it's not noise that if you have any type of sensory issues, it's most likely will not um, be an issue because it is brown noise, which is a good thing. Colors. Colors. Oh, no, I need to go back to this. No, wrong one. Here we go. And there's also, because it has a whole bunch of different like modes. So there's a welcome video, which is more like an orientation video, which kind of like walks you through each mode, and you actually exercise with the trainer, like with the actual like physical person, um, to learn how the different modes work outside of like reading them, because like muscle memory is important. And another benefit is as soon as you buy the Vitruvian, you get to book a free one-on-one consultation with one of their instructors to kind of like see if like possibilities of a custom program or just general questions about the machine, which is really nice. And their customer service is also really great. I've had to email their customer service 3 times now, and even though they're in Australia, they respond like with a time change. They always respond before the end of my day. So that's another good thing to know, being like in North America to Australia time difference. Okay. And then there's like, I don't know if Afterpay is a thing in the United States, but like the whole do it over 18-month payments with no interest. Um, they also have like work with that payment processor where like, yeah, Afterpay is one of them. Where if your credit is there, you can pay for it for 18 months if on approved credit without any interest. But I need to, before I recommend it to people, being a disabled person, and I need to not play with it, use it somewhere because it's not a toy. Yes, we have Afterpay. So yeah, it's like they use Afterpay and a couple other of those payment processor things, so that yeah, you don't have to spend it all at once. I have a zero interest payment plan on it via my bank, so I didn't need to use that. Which is the same thing. Mine is with my bank is over 18 months as well, with no interest. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. I'm gonna color this up here. What else can we talk about? Um, I have not had a chance to email my publicist yet about a November 1st um, cover reveal. I have a feeling it might not be possible until December when it goes off to the printer. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm still gonna push for it, because a lot of people, I mean, even though you could pre-order it if you want to like search for it, a lot of people are getting really antsy. Like I've been telling people to hold off on the pre-order, even though the price is set um, until like pre-orders are officially open. Just because the page number that's listed right now, where it's at the usual places, is not correct at the moment. Anomic is saying they have heard some very mixed reviews about the Rings of Power. So we have been watching the Rings of Power. And we will be finishing, we'll watch the last episode tomorrow during our family day. And I think a lot of the reviews that are mixed are born out of racism and misogyny. And old white men, or just cis white men in, like, I've heard some really, really ridiculous, like, let's forget about, oh, there's black elves and how dare there be black elves and black dwarves, because Tolkien never had black people in his books. Well, you don't know that, like, number one, because skin color was never mentioned in the books. And if, like, there are going to be black humans and black elves and black dwarves and black hobbits that aren't hobbits. They're the pre they're the predecessors of the hobbits. Whatever. So that, and then people angry with Galadriel because whatever, they don't like strong women, and they making comments on her looks or whatever. I can ignore, like, that's born completely out of racism and out of misogyny. Some of the um wilder criticisms I've heard has to do with the language is not as flowy and colorful and whatever. Like, it's the language is too basic, and it's not like Tolkien, like, whatever. It's like too common English. What it should be like these upper class prose, and I'm like, no. I mean, no. That's just ridiculous. You're just complaining to complain. If you're complaining that they're using plain spoken accessible language, then you're just being ridiculous, and your criticism is not to be listened to at all. Monomic is saying some are all for feminism, but have said that it just goes to extremes for it to even be believable. So no, I mean, it's a fantasy book, number one. But people I know who have, so these are based off of Tolkien, I don't even know how to pronounce the dude's name. It's based off of works of his that were, like, published after he died, that are not well read. And people that have read the appendices and all of the other stuff that the Rings of Power are based off of says that it's pretty good and not far fetched. Um, to me, I watched it, and there's nothing, like, for when number one, it's fantasy. So, like, the strength. I also, okay, so let's talk about first that she's an elf that has lived thousands and thousands and thousands of years. By the time, like, the Lord of the Rings trilogy is published, she's already thousands of years old, and she is a badass elf, and she's close to retirement, and she goes off to the west to die. Um, and just based off of that, like, she's a badass, the strongest, most powerful elves to have ever existed in Middle Earth. And there's nothing, as far as that is concerned, that, like, I found nothing unrealistic. Um, and also it's fantasy. Like, that's and even within the realms of, like, of course she's going to be strong, of course she's going to be kick-ass. Um, yeah, there has been nothing that, and I have a really hard time suspending my disbelief as an autistic person. And I'm not a hardcore Lord of the, like, I haven't read the books because the language is just, it's not for, I'm a reluctant reader, and it's not for reluctant readers. And I'm enjoying. There was only one episode that kind of like got drawn out and was slow, and I kind of fell asleep during, but I was tired. Um, but I haven't fallen asleep during the majority of them, and so that if I don't fall asleep during something, then it's not terrible. And I'm just saying, I thought that it was like a Lord of the Rings redo, and they haven't seen it yet. Um, I thought that was yeah. So no, and maybe there are some people who think that it is a Lord of the Rings redo, not knowing that no, this is a prequel to Lord of the Rings. This is like, this takes place like 1,000 years before Lord of the Rings takes place. And she's still a very, very young elf at this part, and it's based off of public, like, works that were published after he died, that his, like, so Token, whatever his name is, um he, like, had notebooks and pieces of paper, like, scribbled with different ideas, and just like binders and rooms filled with miscellaneous random notes of Lord of the Rings lore that were never published. And after he died, his son took all of these, like, different bits and bobs of paper that his dad wrote, and different ideas that his dad just randomly jotted down on paper, and edited them into, like, coherent books and appendices that were published after everything else. And that's what these are based off of, is all those bits and bobs that, and Token's son, who, like, organized all these bits and bobs, worked on the show and gave his thumbs up, like, yes, this is what my dad intended, was me owning all of these pieces of paper that these ideas were written on. And so I just think a lot of the complaints boil down to, um, either people not understanding that it's a prequel, or um, or racism and misogyny, and even people who are, like, it's like, I hear people saying I'm all for feminism, but it's always the but always, like, erases what comes before that. Um, so what is that? Reservation Dogs. Yes, I think that's the name of the show. I'm just gonna put that down. Reservation Dogs. I would give it a try. And if you don't like it, I mean, every single episode is long. That's my only complaint about it, is that every episode is like movie length from the 90s, when movies were still like an hour and 15 to an hour and a half. Um, that is my only complaint, is that, but their CGI for the animals is really bad. It reminds me of claymation. And I'm like, this cost $1 billion. You think, you would think that it wouldn't be like such bad CGI for the animals, and there's some people who are like, oh no, it's actually really good. I'm like, no, it reminds me of the CG stop motion from the original Clash of the Titans, with like the clockwork um owl. I can't think of the name of it. But it's, yeah, it's not. There's some parts of it that I'm like, why did you spend $1 billion if you're not going to make animals that move in a way that's not uncanny valley? Um, so that's my only complaint about it, is, yeah, that piece. And I'm saying, yes, I think the ones I heard complaining were cis white men. Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, if it's cis white men complaining about something, my rule is to ignore it and see what other people are saying about it. especially, um, I mean, I always default to listening to women of color because, especially Black and Indigenous women of color, because I mean that's the canary in a coal mine, right? Like, listen to the most marginalized in society, and they will be able to tell you what's up. And I like other voices as well too, but I it's I think all the criticism I've seen is unwarranted. And I'm like saying, some said the money was mainly in paying the estate of Token. No, I'm pretty sure his son got a good payday out of it, but like the production value of this is amazing, except for that one thing. Um, but it's yeah, the production value is really, really good, and you can tell they went to they they did a really good job. It has the same, like, I like Lord of the Rings the movies had good production value, and it has like it's that but better because it's using today's technology to do those effects. Um, but there are a couple things that they did cheap out on, and I don't know if it was because of being created during a panini and resources were low, or what happened there. Um, so Survivor. I can't believe that's almost over. I don't like the shorter seasons that they're having to do. Um, New Amsterdam. I'm so glad this is the last season of New Amsterdam because they keep trying to force relationships that, I mean, why not just, that just should not be happening. I mean, like, keep people single. There's nothing wrong with being single. Do you ever want to be a cinematographer? I would like to be, I would like to design, like, do production as, like, set design, and I'm not quite sure, which is kind of part of cinematography. I would never want to be an editor. Whenever I have to, like, I hate editing video. I hate editing audio. Um, so I would not be good for that, but I like creating visually stunning things. Um, so I would like to be on, like, the design aspect and be able to create, because people who have looked at my photography, I'm very good with mood and emotion in my still photography. So imagine what that would be, the mood, and it's very, like, I think it has to do with me being autistic and just how when I look at the world, it causes such a physical feeling because of sensory issues. And so that dictates my aesthetic is I need things to calm me. And so, like, everything I design would be to calm my nervous system. And so it would probably have the effect of calming a lot of other people's nervous systems as well. And I have a very specific aesthetic because of it. So yeah, if I had a if I had a way of doing just the design aspect and being able to, like, translate what I see in my head to somebody else to be able to create that, so I'm not having to do like to do the actual processing part of it. If I could teach somebody to yeah, if I could teach somebody to process what's in my, like, that aesthetic. Absolutely. And then, like I was saying, does your photography help with your aphasia and also how you translate that into your book scenes? My photography does not help with my aphasia, but it does help to maybe it does actually. Now that I'm thinking about this, because if I'm finding myself like specifically like stuck, and then I will grab my camera and I know like saying that is what assistants are for. Yes. So if I find myself like just because if I'm stressed out, then my aphasia gets worse. If I'm tired, my like there's lots of things trigger my aphasia to get worse. And I find if I grab my camera and go shoot something, or even if I cook, right? Even just cooking does it. It resets my brain and allows it to unwind the knots that has formed, and then my thoughts become clear, and I can like regroup and recenter. So I guess it helps in that way. Um, and also how you translate that into your book scenes. I'm not really so in my book scenes, the thing that translates in the imagery is how specific things make me feel. And it's really funny because the challenge in the Andrew Scrivani Academy this week is to shoot emotion. Because a lot of times, and the reason why Andrew gave us that challenge this week is because a lot of times you'll show up on set and the designer, the artistic director would be like, um, photograph something like the mood needs to be happy. Well, how do you make things happy, right? And like the tagline for my photography business is warm, comforting, and inviting. And that's basically also the aesthetic of my cookbook is warm, comforting, and inviting because I want people to feel like they're having the warm hug and like people who have strong food cultures who like it's really important to share meals with people like that you come into my house and you're a guest and you relax and I cook for you and you're just welcomed and you don't have a care in the world. Um, so that's like that it's all for the most part is like that aesthetic. Like I want you to open my book and look at not only like just look at it, the layout, the imagery, and just take a breath of sigh and relief and have your shoulders drop and just be like, oh, I'm comfortable and I'm at home and I can breathe now and I'm about to have something really warm and like nourishing to my body and to my soul. There are a couple of images that I'm still not happy with that don't quite do that I think miss the mark. Um, but I'm trying to open up, hold on, I'm trying to open it up on my phone. I know I've shown them before, but let me get to my images. Crip up the kitchen. Cookbook images. So, um, like even this will like this is like in the come on load. Oh, really? You're just gonna be that way? Okay, let me wait till it's done loading. Okay, maybe now it's gonna load. Yeah. So, I mean, this is like dark would classify as dark and moody. I'm trying to see if I can get it to show up. You can see a wisp kind of on here. It shows up better on screen. A wisp of steam, but that's still like having the warm dish on the cool background. That's still like warm and like you can breathe and you can fall like even like my really simple thought shots. And then I have like the more like um lifestyle kind of layouts where it has more stuff in the scene, but it's still really inviting and warm and like that when you sit down to have this bowl of chicken soup, it's gonna warm you up and you're just gonna feel good eating it. And so that was basically and then like chocolate cake. My chocolate cake image is just like this is just oops luxurious and like that's a cake you want to eat. That cake is gonna make you feel satisfied. even though it's a simple shot. And it's just basically about the lighting, like how I do my lighting. My lighting is very mood specific. Um, I mean, like even my hummus dish, and I'm not like my hummus is like who can make hummus look um look kind of like appealing other than like a mush in a bowl. Um, Let me like my round two, and this is just all ephemera shots. But even this dip, there's something about it that is there's. Let me try and cut off some of this light because it's like overexposing it. There we go. Like the camera's reading it better then. But there's just still something about that. A visual hug. Yeah. Like all my images are just they're a visual hug. I mean, even this bowl of cocoa powder is a visual hug. And so that was my main thought going into it is that I want people to have a visual hug as they're reading my book. I want them to feel like they're at home. Homey, I guess is a word. Um, is just really important to me. And when I start having to shoot other clients' cookbooks again, and if they want something other than that, I mean, that's where I live, right? Like I live in being able to make even the most mundane things, like a bowl filled of cocoa powder, um, visually warm and inviting and giving the person a hug. Like I just want to crawl into that bowl of cocoa and or cocoa powder and live in that bowl of cocoa powder, which is a really weird thing to say. But that was my goal. And 95% of the images, um, I accomplished that. There's a couple of images that are going in the book that my publisher loves that I'm not happy with. When I shot them, I was in a lot of pain and I had I just could not do better than, and it kind of, to me, I can see my pain in those images. Um, what am I looking for? I am on books now. Yeah, so I can see the pain in those images. When I said that to my coordinating editor, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's a great image. I'm like, no, it's not. There's something a little bit aloof about it. It's not my best work. But I also, when it came time to reshooting, again, like I had to do 26 images without an assistant in 2 weeks, and so I I picked and chose what I was going to be shooting, and I didn't worry about reshooting it except for the chili. The chili I had to reshoot because the first image was a complete mess as far as my standards are concerned. I guess I'm just gonna do one book this week, because it was very cold and not good. My first chili shot. Anomic, it might remind you of the time, but it wouldn't of others the pain. Yeah, exactly. And I can see it, and others won't. They might be able to notice that it's not the same feeling as the other images, because there is something that's just not a little bit out of place, but they won't be able to see why, which is fine. I mean, when I look at the images for my cookbook, and then when I look at other cookbooks, and I mean, it's kind of, Canadians consider it rude to toot your own horns, but there's one thing I know that I'm good at. It's photography. And just the thanks to an amazing book designer who like learned my brand and learned how to do neurodivergent design, and having a publisher that consistently designs cookbooks that are just that much more luxurious than other cookbooks. Like my cookbook is not only like a cookbook, but it's also a piece of art that I'm very proud of. And I really cannot wait until like the few interior pages that are going to be put up on like the first, like when people can see the interior samples that go up on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all those places that sell the book. Um, yeah, it's my holiday. I'm gonna color these in while I have some time here. It's just one of those things that people may just want to buy it for, also to be a coffee table book and not cook a thing out of it, because it's just like one of those books that you want to, even though it's soft cover but also has like flaps to mimic like the wrap that are on hardcover fiction books. um Days off of clients is what I'm looking for. CG2. Yeah, I'm just very, very proud of it. And I cannot wait for it to be in people's hands. And May feels at once. Oh, hold on, let me stop making this noise. May feels at once a million miles away, and like it's going to be tomorrow. Like, so we're on. The publication date is May 9th in Canada, and I think May 30th in the United States. So November, December, January, February, March, April. 7 months is the average. French flat stats, yes. Yes. That's not how I want to do this. So yeah, it seems like 7 months seems like an eternity from now. But also, I mean, it doesn't feel like it's been 11 months since I signed my publishing contract. And here we are. It doesn't seem like a year since I launched this channel, um, and nearly a year since I've been doing the live streams. But here we are. So, and pre-orders usually happen 6 months, like officially, like the publisher announces them 6 months before a book is due to be published. A friend of mine who has an astronomy type book coming out in April just launched their, like, to inform people of pre-orders. So hopefully November is when we will be doing like, hey, pre-order this. Monomic saying it will zoom by. I hope so. I mean, once I am done with everything, approve the final checks happen in November, and it goes off to the printer in December, and I don't have this book to work on anymore, I worry that come January, it's gonna feel like 1,000 years by the time May rolls around. That is my worry. We will see if that becomes reality. But I also have, I'm hoping, it all depends on how I'm feeling in November, how long it takes me to get used to my CPAP mask. Like, if that makes my insomnia worse for a while, I might not be able to finish my whip that I'm currently working on in November, December at the latest, as planned, as wanted. Because I want to start querying my next book mid-January is what I'm hoping for, but it might not happen. So I might be writing, and if I'm writing as well as working on client stuff, then I will have plenty to keep me busy until May rolls around. If I'm just working on client work, um, then it's going to be a long 5 months. Um, and I'm like saying, you will be too busy working on the other book. That is the hope. And maybe even like yeah, that is, I'm hoping I will have. If not, then I'm just gonna have to create another project for me, like start working on, like, if I'm done my current YA piece of fiction by the end of this year and I'm querying that in January to February, then I'm gonna start working on my next cookbook, I think, and get more into recipe development, or at least like finding, because I have some ideas for a cookbook that I want to work on, and it's just it is getting with the partners um, of that. Um, yeah, there's partner people that are going to be involved in my next cookbook. I'll also be teaching, hopefully, in the new year as well. Do clients send you recipes that you have to make before you shoot? Most of the time, yes, but then there are some clients that I also do recipe development for, where they want recipes developed around their specific brand of whatever. So yeah, and sometimes because cooking, food styling, cooking, are and so food styling, which is includes cooking, is separate from shooting, and those are have different pay rates, and I do both, and I get paid at different rates for both. Some clients will be like, okay, you're going to the studio and we're having the food stylist, like we're paying someone separate to do the food stylist. You're just showing up to do the shooting. And that happens as well. Um, Smaller local clients, I end up doing it all. So they will send me the recipe. Or except for restaurant clients. Restaurant clients, I go in, their cook has shot or has already cooked everything that they want shot for them for their website, and then I just go in with my equipment and I shoot. So it really depends on the job. Um, yeah, it really depends on the job. Anything else I need to do this week? Don't think I am going to be able to get to the unhaul. I think I'm going to wait till December when I have like a full year, because I think what I'm doing, because this week was interrupted like Wednesday, and I think I might be taking an extra week of holiday in December. Or maybe I might take all December off once it goes to printer and just work on my whip. So I might do my unhaul finally in December, but I've pretty much like given up on putting it on my to-do list because I have been like moving that over for so long. See if there's anything. What am I looking for? This. Um, I might actually have time to do, because I don't have the Thursday is when I'm supposed to get round 2 proofs back if everything goes according to plan. Um, so that leaves me, I might be able to do these things. Let me put it down. So new. Oh, I know what I wanted to do this week. I developed a recipe that is too complicated for Disabled Kitchen and Garden because it's just too much. It's too much. But it would be good on my like author website as a here's a bonus thing, and I have developed it. I shot it yesterday, and so I want to add author recipe to that website, to my author website, and then add um, new recipe to Patreon as well. Um, and then update that website as well, if I can. But I think those are the only things I'm going to try and commit myself to this week, on top of my extra. What was that? Sound like a backfire. Yeah, I think this week I have to keep it kind of like loosey goosey because I don't know what's happening on Thursday, especially with my man. Oh, here's a funny story. I'm gonna read this out. Um, so the proofreader like has had to get back with and ask me some questions that if they had opened up an accessibility document that I had written about like rules for how things should appear in certain parts of the like there's two ways of listing ingredients and it really all depends on some things. It would have answered the questions and they wouldn't have had to bother me on my holiday. um, and so my editor asked me the questions. I'm like, no, that's correct, and like tell the proofreader to look at the accessibility doc for other questions, like answer if they have questions, because I'm guessing the answer to the question would be in the accessibility document that was written up from the book. And so my editor responds like, I feel like the general theme of our editorial correspondences could be titled Author says, I told you so, as politely as he can, more times than he thinks could be possibly be required. And I laugh so hard because it's true. Because it's like it's like the equivalent of as I said in my previous email. But for me, it's like as I said in this like 20-page document that I typed up so that everybody who's working on the book understands because there's lots of things in this cookbook that are not normal to how Touchwood does their books because to make it accessible, right? And so lots of people have had different questions working on it. So I had to type up this accessibility document with all the rules for like the things that are not per the guide. And instead of looking at the document, I'm getting emails about, well, what about this? What about that? And I just love that my editor gets me. Like, my editor is like, you're being polite, Jules, and you're being patient, and I can tell you're frustrated. And it's like, it's fine. I mean, it's fine because it can be confusing, but at the same time, I did write an entire document um, to make sure that I mean, people wouldn't have to come back and forth with questions. And with that funny note, I think it is reading is fundamental. Yes. And with that funny story, it is time to say goodbye because I just looked at the time and my battery is gonna die soon. So thanks for joining me in chat as always, Anomic. Thanks to everybody who lurked. Thank you to everybody who watches this on replay. Um, Hit that like button so that people can find it. If you are not subscribed to this channel, then please subscribe and hit that notification bell and make sure for all notifications because what happens for my live Plan With Me's, which are every single Saturday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. British time, is if for health reasons I cannot do my stream and I have to cancel, I change the title of the stream when the 30-minute warning goes out to let people know that I'm canceling. So if you want that notification that I have to cancel a stream, then please hit that all notification bell. Anomic is saying, good chatting with you this week. See you next week. Same to you, Anomic, and everybody else. Have a great week. Stay safe. Bye for now.